Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship.
It's very clear that I'm there as press and gathering the story. And on the following Wednesday, an officer showed up at my house, said, I'm giving you a ticket for violating contrary to the Reopening Ontario Act. The day I got that ticket, I was trying to do a story at a home hardware.
Whoa! Turn up! Really? Stop resisting, man!
Oh, that's funny, guy. Hey!
I filed a complaint against the officer, and then a week later, he called me up and said, I'm going to charge you with obstructing. And how our legal system... Katherine?
Yeah.
The police are at my door.
Are you Michael?
Yeah?
Okay.
Can I have your name and badge number?
And I don't really see what the discrepancy is between the two of them, why he would be getting a ticket for doing his job and other people wouldn't be. It's not right to discriminate against different platforms because one is being funded by taxpayers and one is not.
Katherine Krozonouski here for Rebel News. I have a wild Fight the Fines case to share with you today. It is one of the craziest interviews I've ever had because the police showed up in the middle of it. You didn't mishear. The police showed up in the middle of our talk on Skype. If you don't already know, Fight the Fines is one of Rebel News' largest civil liberties projects ever. Through the generosity of our donors, we connect victims of unlawful lockdown tickets with top-notch criminal defense lawyers. Michael Van De Weghe is an independent photojournalist and public location auditor who, like Rebel News, tells the other side of the story. Michael follows leads the mainstream media won't touch, and as you know from watching Rebel News, this kind of work can get you in hot water, and Michael is no exception. Take a look at this, but stick around until the end because I'll share an update from his legal team.
Let's start with what you do.
I basically partake in civil rights activism and public auditing. So I go and film police stations, city halls, businesses that have contracts with our municipalities and our governments. I do tend to gauge it around the right as per our charter right as to be the freedom of press. And with everything that's been going on with the pandemic and COVID and whatnot over the last, 16 months, 15 months now, I've been going out and talking to some of the protesters and getting their stories and seeing what, and trying to find out from those on the other side as well, those that are opposing the protest. I'm not anti-mask. I'm not a COVID denier. I just firmly believe that, if you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. I'm a big fan of Edgar Friendly's comment in Demolition Man. I'm going to paraphrase it. It basically says, I'm the enemy because I like to think, I like to read.
I'm into freedom of speech and freedom of choice.
Anyway, so I was at a protest here in Sarnia at City Hall, and I was just talking to the people that were there and trying to understand what their concerns were.
What were they protesting?
No more lockdowns. I'm out there talking to them and trying to get their stories. And the other reason I'm there is if the police do show up and want to start ticketing people, I want to be able to film that interaction, right? So that was a Saturday. And on the following Wednesday, an officer showed up at my house, said, I'm giving you a ticket for violating contrary to the Reopening Ontario Act, Section 10.1.
Oh, so you have a press pass?
Yes.
Yeah.
And on it says, as per the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, Section 2B, everyone, and I underlined everyone, has the right to freedom of press and other media. So I wear this on a lanyard when I'm out, right?
Yeah, we wear ours too.
It's very clear that I'm there as working as press and gathering the story. I don't study law a lot, and I really haven't studied it in detail, like at a university or something. But, I can read and I understand what I'm reading. COVID enhanced public health and workplace safety measures. It's the part of the stay-at-home order as per Ontario Regulation 8220. And this falls under the section of businesses that can open and relevant restrictions, media industries, It says permitted is commercial and industrial photography and interactive digital media businesses. So yeah, anyways, this officer shows up on Wednesday, gives me a ticket. I was in the kitchen cooking dinner for the family, and my wife comes in and she's like, there's a cop at the door for you. Yeah, I got a ticket, and I reached out to Fight the Fines and sent it in. I would appreciate some legal advice on my avenue of defense. Actually, the day I got that ticket, I was in Newbury, Ontario, trying to do a story at a home hardware where another auditor who got us assaulted and arrested by the police. I filmed the whole interaction.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Sir, you're under arrest. Whoa! Turn around! Really? Stop resisting! Stop resisting! Stop resisting! Stop resisting, Dan!
Oh, that's funny, guys.
Hey! Oh! There you go!
Speaking of fighting, as you know, Rebel News is in a constant battle against censorship. And that is why it is so important that you go to rebelnews.com and give us your email or phone number so that if and when we get kicked off of YouTube, you can still watch all of our content. Stay in the fight. Visit rebelnews.com now.
The officer who did it, he just basically jumped out of his car and like immediately went to an arrest. So I filed a complaint against the officer, and then exactly a week later, he called me up and said, "I'm going to charge you with obstructing."
Did you?
Yeah, he called me and said he was going to charge me with obstructing. So I had to go to Strathroy OPP and get my photograph taken and fingerprinted and all that. And yeah, they gave me some conditions for an undertaking, and then it was that night when I got home. I was home maybe 30 or 40 minutes when the police came and gave me the ticket for being at the protest. Tuesday, I was in London, and they were doing the pride flag raising there, and I wanted to get there to do the story there, and I missed it. I couldn't find parking. Parking is horrible in downtown London. So I ended up just doing an audit on the building. And that's all I do is I walk around on the public sidewalks and film the building, right? They were pretty nice. You know, I have no issue with them coming out and asking me what I'm doing. Generally, you know, it takes a minute. I explain what it is. They leave me alone, right? But I had spare time because I had to go to Brantford as well. That's where we get our dog food. So while I was there and I had time, I figured I'd do an audit at the Brantford police station. And the officer that came out and talked to me there threatened me with violence and arrest because I was standing on a public sidewalk, actually with an easement because there's no sidewalk. So I was standing there, and he's like, "You can't film here." I'm like, "Yeah, I can." When it comes to the rules of filming in public, I am extremely well versed in what I'm allowed to do and not allowed to do. I've read through the Jarvis case and all the rules set by it. I've read through numerous cases from the Supreme Court about the freedom of press and public filming. I don't break the law, you know. So yeah, anyways, there was another officer in Brantford who followed me, and like after I got in my vehicle and left, because I park like several blocks away. So they followed me, and then they ran my plates, and they knew who I am. And I got an email on my YouTube channel telling me I should take that video down. I don't know who it's from.
I said it seems like you have a bit of a target on your back now.
Oh, that's all right. They can try to target me. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, no worries.
Katherine?
Yep.
The police are at my door.
Oh, no.
So I will be back in just a minute.
I'll stay on the line. Film everything, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Jeez.
Who are you and what are you doing here?
I got a summons here for you, for court.
For what?
For what? Obstruct peace officer. Hey? Are you Michael?
Yeah?
Okay.
Can I have your name and badge number?
5106.
Name?
Wilson.
Wilson, 5106.
Right. Here you go.
And that's for obstruction?
That's what it says. From OPP, I guess. In London.
In London?
London. Okay.
Okay. You can put it in my mailbox.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, folks, and Katherine, I'm online here with Katherine from Rebel News. Sorry, Katherine, I'm just recording this. Anyways.
This is the most lively Fight the Fines interview I've ever done. This is insane. What did they say to you at the door there?
He told me he had a summons for me, and I got his name and badge number.
As you can see from my chat with Michael, he is a highly intelligent person. So when he says he knows the law and works within it, I believe him. So if he's not breaking the law, why is he being targeted? Is it because he has a camera and likes to point it where the government says it doesn't belong?
So this is when I was in Newbury, and we were trying to...
Assaulted?
I wanted to interview... I met another auditor here who's fairly close to me. And he's been trying to get businesses to understand how the max exemptions work. And he keeps getting trespassed from all these places. So I agreed to meet him in Newbury in front of the hardware store. They come out, they start arguing with him. And the police show up, and this officer's first thing he does is like he gets out of the car, he points at me and he goes, "Who are you and what are you doing?" I'm like, "Give me your name and badge number and then I'll talk to you, right?" I didn't even have a chance to answer him. And then he turns to this other guy and he's like, "Oh, you're Dan so-and-so, you're under arrest." He did no investigation, had no idea what was going on. He just immediately went to the arrest mode. I tried to get their names and badge numbers. They weren't having it. And because of the first officer's attitude and his immediately going to an arrest without consideration for the situation, I filed a complaint against him, right? Yeah.
What was the actual, so it was obstruction?
Yeah, obstructing a peace officer, section 129A of the criminal code.
Like you didn't physically touch anyone and you weren't stopping them from doing their jobs.
Never interfere with the police officer in any way whatsoever.
Yeah.
I did tell one lady not to interfere because she might have gotten hurt.
Yeah.
Can I have your name and badge numbers, please?
So, follow up. Yep.
Gentlemen, can I have your name and badge numbers, please? Oh, so you're not going to honor the law? Really?
I caught up with our legal team to chat about Michael's case.
What strikes me about his case is he was simply there as a journalist doing his job. And I don't see what the difference between him being a journalist and somebody from CBC being a journalist. They're reporting on the same things if they're both there. And I don't really see what the discrepancy is between the two of them, why he would be getting a ticket for doing his job and other people wouldn't be. It's not right to discriminate against different platforms because one is being funded by taxpayers and one is not.
The cost of fighting these unlawful tickets really adds up. That's why we need your help. Visit fightthefines.com today to make a donation. Your generous gift will go directly to the Democracy Fund, a registered Canadian charity who uses the money to pay for the lawyers representing people like Michael and so many others. This money doesn't come to Rebel. It's not for us. It's for the people most affected by these confusing and abusive lockdowns. Visit fightthefines.com today to help. For Rebel News, I'm Katherine Krozonouski. To help us keep fighting for the liberty of all Canadians, please visit fightthefines.com today and donate. You really can make a difference.